The sky burned red over Seoul as another orbital strike tore through the atmosphere. General Daewon watched from the command bunker as the thermal readings spiked across his screen. 3 million people lived in that sector. Lived. Past tense now. "Sir, the Western defense line has collapsed," his second-in-command Tae-min reported, his voice steady despite the sweat on his brow. "The Vexreal ground forces are advancing on all fronts." Daewon said nothing. What could he say? Humanity had fought for 3 years against an enemy they never stood a chance against. The Vexreal Collective brought 17 alien species together, each more advanced than humans. Their weapons turned cities to glass. Their shields stopped every missile Earth could throw at them. Their soldiers wore armor that laughed at human bullets. Across the bunker, Dr. Hana stood over her computer terminal, her fingers flying across the keys. She had barely slept in weeks. Dark circles framed her eyes, but those eyes still held determination. She was humanity's last hope, though most people did not know it yet. "How much time do we have?" Daewon asked, walking over to her station. "Maybe 2 weeks before they reach this facility," Hana replied without looking up. "Maybe less if they realize what we are doing here." The facility sat 3 miles underground, hidden beneath what used to be a research university. Above them, the world ended. Down here, Hana worked on something that might let humanity survive, not win. Survival was the only victory left. "Tell me again how this works," Daewon said. He had heard the explanation before, but he needed to hear it again, needed to believe it could work. Hana finally stopped typing and turned to face him. "The human body can adapt to almost anything given enough time. Evolution normally takes millions of years. We don't have millions of years. We don't have millions of days." She pulled up a holographic display showing strands of DNA. "This serum forces evolution. It rewrites human genetics at the cellular level, but it needs time to work. 700 years according to my calculations." 700 years in cryosleep, Tae-min said from behind them. He had joined them without either noticing. "While the Vexreal think we are dead." "Exactly," Hana confirmed. "The serum will change us, make us stronger, faster, better adapted for survival. Our brains will develop new capabilities. Our bodies will heal damage that would kill us now. We will become predators instead of prey." Daewon looked at the list of volunteers on her screen. 10,000 names. Soldiers, scientists, engineers, doctors. The best humanity had left. They would sleep while the world forgot them. They would wake to a Earth they did not recognize, in bodies they did not recognize. "And if it doesn't work?" he asked. "Then we die in our sleep instead of in the bombardment," Hana said simply. "Personally, I prefer that option." An explosion shook the bunker. Dust fell from the ceiling. Alarms started blaring throughout the facility. "They found us," Tae-min said, checking his tactical display. "Vexreal troops are breaching the upper levels. We have maybe an hour." Hana's face went pale, but her voice remained calm. "Then we start now. Get everyone to the cryo bay. The serum is ready." The next 40 minutes passed in controlled chaos. 10,000 people filed into the massive cryo bay, a chamber that stretched the length of 3 football fields. Each person received an injection of Hana's serum before entering their designated pod. Some cried, some prayed, most just looked tired, tired of running, tired of losing, tired of watching their species die. Daewon helped coordinate the process, making sure everyone found their assigned pod. He watched a young pilot named Yuna climb into her pod. She could not have been more than 25. She had lost her entire family to the Vexreal. Now she would sleep and wake to a world without them. "Will it hurt?" she asked him. "No," Daewon lied. Truth was, nobody knew. Hana's tests on volunteers showed the serum caused extreme pain as it rewrote the body's genetic code. But that pain would come later after they were frozen, after they could not feel it. Maybe Tae-min found him as the last volunteers entered their pods. "The Vexreal are 2 levels above us. Our automated defenses are holding, but not for long." "Good," Daewon said. "That's all we need." They walked together to their own pods located near the center of the bay. Hana was already in hers, the lid still open. She saw them approaching and smiled weakly. "See you in 700 years," she said. "Try not to be late." "Wouldn't dream of it," Day One replied. He watched as Hana's pod sealed shut. The cryogenic process started immediately, frost forming on the inside of the transparent lid. Within seconds, she was frozen, her body preserved in time. Taemin climbed into his pod next. "Sir, it's been an honor." "The honor is mine," Day One said, closing Taemin's pod manually. Then he was alone. The cryo bay was silent, except for the hum of 10,000 pods maintaining their precious cargo. Somewhere above, the Vexril were killing the last automated defenses. Soon they would reach this level. They would find the cryo bay, but Hana had installed stealth technology that would make the pods invisible to their scanners. As far as the Vexril would know, this was just an empty room full of old equipment. Day One climbed into his pod and initiated the sequence. The lid closed over him with a soft hiss. He felt the injection port in his arm activate, pumping the serum into his bloodstream. It burned like fire, and he gasped despite himself. The pod began cooling rapidly. Frost formed on the inside of the lid, obscuring his vision. His last thought before the cold took him was a simple one. Let us survive. Let us wake. Let us make them pay. 700 years passed in an instant for Day One. For the world above, everything changed. The Vexril declared humanity extinct after 3 years of occupation. They found no survivors, no resistance, nothing. Earth became another conquered world, valuable only for its resources and location. They never found the 10,000 sleeping beneath the surface. They never suspected that humanity's last survivors were changing, evolving, becoming something the galaxy had never seen before, something dangerous. The pods kept their charges safe through centuries. The automated systems maintained perfect conditions. And deep within each frozen body, Hana's serum worked its dark magic, rewriting human DNA one cell at a time. When they finally woke, they would no longer be the prey. They would be the predators. And the Vexril would learn the most terrifying truth in the universe. Humanity did not die. Humanity evolved. The first thing Day One noticed was the pain. Every cell in his body screamed as life returned to frozen limbs. But the pain felt different than he expected. It was not the weak, overwhelming agony of a dying man. It was sharp, intense, the pain of a body that was very much alive and very much aware. His pod's lid opened with a hiss. Warm air rushed in, carrying scents he could identify immediately. Metal, dust, age, and something else. Something organic and growing far above them. Plants. Lots of plants. How could he smell plants through 3 miles of rock and concrete? Day One sat up faster than he intended. The movement should have made him dizzy after centuries of sleep, but his head remained perfectly clear. He looked down at his hands. They looked the same, but wrong somehow. The muscles were denser, more defined. His skin had a faint sheen to it, almost like armor. Around him, other pods were opening. 10,000 people waking from the longest sleep in human history. But they were not quite people anymore. Not the way they used to be. Taemin emerged from his pod 3 spaces down. He moved with liquid grace like a cat, every motion perfectly controlled. His eyes met Day One's across the chamber, and something passed between them. Not words. Not exactly. A sense of recognition, of connection, of pack. "Sir," Taemin said, his voice deeper than before. "I feel different." "We all do," Day One replied. He jumped down from his pod a drop of 8 feet. He landed in a crouch without thinking, his body moving on instincts he never had before. Hana's serum worked. "Worked is an understatement," a woman's voice said. Yuna approached them, the young pilot who had asked if it would hurt. She looked the same but moved differently, her steps silent despite the metal floor. "I can hear everything, heartbeats, breathing, the electrical systems in the walls. It's like the whole world is shouting at me. And I can see in the dark," another voice added. A young man named Jin Ho emerged from the shadows at the edge of the chamber. "Like it's daylight. Better than daylight. I can see heat signatures, air currents, everything." More people gathered as the pods continued opening. Each of them reported similar changes. Enhanced strength, impossible speed, senses that bordered on precognition, and something else, something harder to explain. They could feel each other, sense each other's presence and intentions without speaking. Hana's pod opened last. The scientist emerged slowly, her eyes taking in the transformed humans around her. She smiled, and Daewon noticed her teeth were sharper than before. "It worked better than I hoped," she said. "My calculations suggested moderate enhancement. This is extraordinary. We have not just evolved. We have become apex predators." "How long were we asleep?" Daewon asked. Hana checked the computer terminal built into her pod. Her fingers moved so fast they blurred. 703 years. The automated systems woke us slightly late due to power conservation protocols. 700 years. Everyone they knew was dead. Everything they remembered was gone. But somehow that knowledge did not hurt as much as it should have. The serum had changed more than their bodies. It had changed their minds, their emotions, making them more focused on survival and less vulnerable to grief. "What's above us?" Taemin asked. "Let's find out," Daewon said. They made their way to the facility's exit tunnel, a passage that led to the surface 3 miles above. Normally, the journey would take hours even with vehicles. The transformed humans ran it in 45 minutes, their enhanced bodies tireless, their improved night vision making the dark tunnels bright as day. When they finally emerged into sunlight, they found a world transformed. The facility's exit opened into what used to be a city. Now it was a forest. Trees grew through buildings. Vines covered streets. Nature had reclaimed everything humanity built, but the city was not empty. In the distance, Daewon could see structures that were definitely not natural. Metal buildings with strange architecture. Vehicles flying through the air on technology humanity never possessed. The Vexriel. They were still here. "They turned Earth into a colony," Hana said, her enhanced eyes picking out details miles away. "I can see agricultural facilities. Mining operations. They are using our planet like a farm." Rage bubbled up inside Daewon, hot and fierce. But it was not the helpless anger of before. This was the cold fury of a predator watching prey that did not know it was being hunted. "How many of them?" he asked. Jinho stepped forward. His senses were the sharpest of anyone who had woken so far. He closed his eyes and listened. "Maybe 50,000 on this continent. They have a major settlement 300 miles west. Smaller outposts scattered everywhere else. Can they detect us?" "I don't think so," Hana said. "The serum changed us at a genetic level. We probably don't register as human anymore on their scanners. If they scan us at all, we will look like local fauna." Yuna laughed, a sound that was more predatory than amused. "Local fauna. I like that. Let them think we are just animals." They made camp in the ruins of the old facility, hidden from the Vexriel settlement. Over the next few days, they explored their new abilities. They could run at speeds that would have broken human legs, jump heights that seemed impossible. Their healing was incredible. Jinho cut himself to test it, and the wound closed in minutes. But the most impressive change was their coordination. When they moved together, they moved as one, like a wolf pack, each member knowing instinctively what the others would do. No communication needed, just pure predatory efficiency. On the 5th day, they encountered their first Vexriel patrol. 3 aliens in light armor, scanning the forest with their equipment. They had not noticed the humans watching from the trees above. Daewon made a decision. They needed information. They needed supplies. They needed to know if their new abilities worked in combat. He gave no order. He did not need to. The pack understood. They dropped from the trees as one, moving faster than the Vexriel could react. Taemin took the first alien, his hands moving with surgical precision to snap its neck. Yuna disabled the second with a strike that caved in its armored chest. Daewon grabbed the third before it could raise an alarm, his enhanced strength letting him lift the alien off its feet with one hand. The entire fight lasted 3 seconds. 3 seconds to kill 2 of humanity's conquerors and capture the third. The Vexriel in Daewon's grip struggled and made sounds of fear. Good. Let it be afraid. Hana approached, examining the alien with scientific interest. "We need to learn their language, understand their technology, find out what they know about Earth and humanity." "And then?" Yuna asked, though they all knew the answer. Daewon looked at the terrified alien in his hands. He thought about soul burning. He thought about 3 billion dead. He thought about sleeping for 700 years while these creatures used humanity's grave as a farm. "And then," he said, his voice carrying a promise of violence, "we remind them that Earth belongs to us, And we teach them what it means to be prey. The other humans smiled. They were not the smiles of the people they used to be. They were the smiles of predators who had just found prey. The Vexril thought humanity was extinct. They were about to learn they were very, very wrong. The Vexril prisoner talked. They always did when Hana asked her questions in the right way. Not torture. The transformed humans found they did not need such crude methods. Fear worked better. Simply standing near the alien, letting it sense the predator in their presence, loosened its tongue faster than any blade. The alien's name was unpronounceable, so they called it Subject 1. It told them everything. The Vexril Collective declared humanity extinct 700 years ago. Earth was now Colony World 73, valued for its agricultural output and mineral resources. 50,000 Vexril lived on the planet, mostly farmers and miners. One military garrison of 3,000 soldiers protected the colony from wildlife. Wildlife. That was what the Vexril thought killed their missing patrol. Local predators, perhaps. Something to put in the reports but not worry about. Perfect Kyung-soo volunteered to lead the first real strike. He had been a Special Forces operative before the war, one of humanity's best soldiers. Now he was something far more dangerous. His team of 20 moved through the forest like ghosts, covering 200 miles in a single night without breaking a sweat. Their target was a communication outpost on the edge of the main settlement. Small facility, maybe 30 Vexril, lots of valuable technology. Kyung-soo's mission was simple. Get in, steal everything useful, get out. No survivors who could report what they saw. The attack happened just before dawn. The Vexril guards never knew what hit them. Kyung-soo moved through the facility like death itself, his enhanced speed making him invisible to the security cameras. By the time the alarm started blaring, half the Vexril were already dead. The other half did not last much longer. Bora was part of Kyung-soo's team. Before the sleep, she had been a communication specialist. Now her enhanced brain processed information faster than any computer. She plugged into the outpost systems and downloaded everything. 700 years of Vexril history, military codes, settlement locations, patrol routes, everything. Got it, she said, her eyes scanning data streams invisible to normal vision. But we have a problem. They sent a distress signal before we killed the communications. How long until response? Kyung-soo asked, snapping the neck of the last Vexril guard. 20 minutes, maybe less. They were gone in 15, disappearing into the forest with computer cores and weapons. The Vexril response team found bodies and blood but no attackers. Their scanners detected nothing. No human DNA, no heat signatures, nothing. Just dead bodies and a gutted facility. Back at the base, Hana and Daewon analyzed the stolen data. What they learned changed everything. They really think we are extinct, Hana said, her fingers flying across the stolen Vexril computer. According to their records, they hunted for human survivors for 3 years. Found nothing. Declared Earth a dead world and moved on. What else? Daewon asked. The garrison commander is named Thexval. Career military, decorated veteran. He runs a tight operation. Patrols every sector, maintains good discipline. But he is not prepared for us. None of them are. Bora pulled up tactical maps. They have a main base here in what used to be Beijing. Housing for most of the military garrison. Command center. Communication hub. If we want to hurt them, that is the target. Not yet, Daewon said. First we make them afraid. Afraid of the dark. Afraid of the forests. Afraid of every shadow. Over the next 3 months, the transformed humans hunted the Vexril across the planet. Small attacks at first. A patrol goes missing here. A remote outpost goes silent there. Each time no survivors. No evidence except bodies. The Vexril started to panic. They increased patrols. Installed better sensors, brought in more troops from orbit. It did not help. The humans could sense the Vexril long before any scanner detected them. They moved through detection grids like they did not exist. They struck from darkness and vanished before reinforcements arrived. Yuna led a team that hijacked a Vexril supply ship. They killed the crew in seconds, then flew the ship to a hidden location. Over weeks, they learned to operate Vexril technology. The ships, the weapons, the armor, everything humanity needed to take the fight beyond ground level. Jinho's team specialized in night raids. They would wait until full darkness, then strike at Vexril settlements on the perimeter. 50 aliens dead before the sun rose. By the time Vexril reinforcements arrived, Jinho's team was miles away, leaving only terror behind. Commander Thexvol tried everything. He pulled his forces back to fortified positions. He established kill zones around important facilities. He even requested air support to patrol the forests. Nothing worked. The humans adapted to every strategy. They learned the Vexral patterns and exploited every weakness. The breaking point came 4 months after the awakening. Day 1 decided it was time to send a message. Time to attack the main base. He gathered 200 of the best fighters. Kyungsu, Yuna, Jinho, Taemin, and others whose skills made them living weapons. They planned the attack for weeks, studying patrol patterns, guard rotations, defensive measures. The assault began at midnight. The humans approached the base from 12 directions simultaneously, moving through detection grids without triggering a single alarm. They cut through the perimeter fence like it was paper. The Vexral did not even know they were under attack until the killing started. Day 1 led the central assault team. They moved through the base with terrifying efficiency, their pack coordination making them unstoppable. A Vexral guard would turn a corner and find 3 humans waiting, dead in 2 seconds. An alarm would sound, and humans would be there to kill whoever responded. Dead in 3 seconds. Thexvol was in the command center when they breached the doors. The Vexral commander was a veteran of 20 campaigns. He had faced rebellions and pirates and hostile aliens. He had never faced anything like the transformed humans. Day 1 crossed the command center in a blur, too fast for the guards to track. He grabbed Thexvol and lifted him effortlessly, the enhanced human strength making the armored alien seem weightless. "Do you know what we are?" Day 1 asked in perfect Vexral. Bora had taught them the language. Thexvol's eyes were wide with terror. Unknown species, hostile, extremely dangerous. "Wrong," Day 1 said. "We are human. We are the species you thought you killed. We are the prey that became predators, and we are going to take our world back." He dropped Thexvol and nodded to Bora. She had already plugged into the base's communication system. With a few commands, she hijacked the colony's entire network. "Send this message to their homeworlds," Day 1 ordered. "Let them know humanity lives. Let them know we are coming." Bora uploaded footage from the attack. Humans moving at impossible speeds. Humans killing trained soldiers with bare hands. Humans vanishing into shadows like they were made of darkness itself. She attached a simple message in Vexral. "You declared us extinct. You were mistaken." Then they destroyed the base and disappeared into the night. 300 Vexral dead. 0 human casualties. When Thexvol sent his report to the Vexral Collective, they dismissed it. Equipment malfunction, they said. Local fauna, they said. Impossible, they said. But deep in the ruins of the command center, hidden in shadow, Day 1 smiled. Let them think it was impossible. Let them dismiss the threat. That would make the next strike even more devastating. The hunt had only just begun. The Vexral Collective sent a fleet, not because they believed Thexvol's reports about evolved humans. They sent it because Earth had gone silent. No communications, no shipments, no responses. 40 warships entered the solar system 6 months after the main base fell, expecting to find equipment failure or maybe a disease outbreak. High Commander Vexthal led the fleet from his flagship, a massive dreadnought that could destroy cities from orbit. He was confident. The collective had conquered 100 worlds. One silent colony would not challenge them. Humanity watched the fleet approach. They had known it was coming. Bora's stolen codes gave them access to Vexral military networks. They had 3 months to prepare. 3 months to learn Vexral ship systems. 3 months to build a trap. Sang-Woo commanded the human space forces. Before the sleep, he had been a naval captain. Now he stood on the bridge of a captured Vexral cruiser, one of 12 ships the humans had taken and retrofitted. His crew of 50 moved with perfect coordination, their enhanced minds processing tactical data faster than any computer. "Fleet entering weapons range," reported the tactical officer. 40 ships, 20 fighters each, estimated 8,000 soldiers. "And we have 12 ships," Sang-Woo said calmly. "Let's even the odds." The trap was simple but brutal. The Vexral fleet expected to find Earth defended by automated systems or nothing at all. Instead, they found their own ships broadcasting friendly identification codes. By the time they realized something was wrong, it was too late. Yuna led the fighter wings. She flew a modified Vexral interceptor, her enhanced reflexes making her better than any pilot the galaxy had ever seen. Her squadron of 30 hit the supply ships at the rear of the fleet, moving too fast for the Vexral to track. They destroyed 6 supply vessels before the fleet could even respond. Without supplies, the Vexril fleet's operational time dropped from months to weeks. Vexthal ordered his fighters to intercept, but Yuna's squadron was already gone, vanishing into Earth's orbital debris field. "They are using our own tactics," Vexthal said, studying the tactical display. "Hit and run. Strike the weak points. This is not a colony defense. This is a military operation." "Sir, we are receiving a transmission," his communication officer reported. "Text only, in our language." The message appeared on every screen in the fleet. "Leave now, or learn what happened to your colony." Vexthal ordered the fleet forward. He was not leaving without answers. That decision cost him everything. Sangwoo's ships appeared from behind Earth's moon, moving at attack speed. The Vexril fleet prepared to engage, confident in their superior numbers. Then the ambush truly began. Human boarding teams had already infiltrated 3 Vexril ships during the fighter attack. Yuna's squadron had provided perfect cover, while small teams using stolen Vexril shuttles docked and entered through maintenance ports. Now those teams activated. On the cruiser Shadow of Victory, 20 Vexril crew members were on the bridge when the humans emerged from the ventilation shafts. The aliens had time to sound the alarm before they died. Nothing more. The boarding team moved through the ship like a plague, killing every Vexril they encountered. Enhanced speed, strength, and coordination made them unstoppable in close quarters. Within 20 minutes, they controlled engineering, weapons, and the bridge. Similar attacks happened on 2 other ships. The Vexril fleet suddenly found 3 of their own vessels firing on them, their weapons controlled by an enemy that should not exist. Vexthal realized the truth in that moment. The reports were real. Humanity was not extinct. They had become something far more dangerous. "All ships fall back to defensive formation," he ordered. "Prepare for boarding actions, too late." Sangwoo's fleet hit them from 3 sides, firing weapons that the Vexril crews had failed to prepare for. Meanwhile, more boarding teams launched from the captured ships, targeting the dreadnought at the center of the formation. Day Wan led the assault on Vexthal's flagship personally. His team of 50 moved through the massive ship with ruthless efficiency. The Vexril soldiers tried to stop them. Tried and died. Human reflexes, human speed, human strength. Each advantage alone would have been formidable. Together they made the transformed humans nearly invincible. They fought their way to the bridge, leaving hundreds of dead Vexril in their wake. The flagship's defenders made their last stand at the command center, but it was not enough. It was never enough. Day One burst through the final barricade and found Vexithal waiting with a plasma rifle. The High Commander fired, but Day One moved faster than the alien could track. He closed the distance in a heartbeat and drove his fist through the rifle, then through Vexthal's chest armor. The High Commander fell, his eyes wide with shock and fear. Around him, his bridge crew died as the other humans swept through, killing everyone who resisted and capturing those who surrendered. "Broadcast surrender terms to the remaining ships," Day One ordered. "Anyone who abandons ship and flees the system can live. Anyone who stays dies. 20 ships fled. 17 stayed to fight, either out of loyalty or pride. The battle lasted 3 more hours. By the end, only 5 Vexril ships remained intact, and those only because Sangwoo wanted more vessels to study. The cost to humanity: 12 wounded, 0 dead. Their enhanced healing meant even serious injuries would mend in days. The cost to the Vexril: thousands dead, an entire fleet destroyed or captured. G1's ground forces finished the cleanup on Earth itself. The remaining Vexril colonies surrendered without a fight when they learned their fleet was gone. Some aliens tried to flee into the wilderness. Bad choice. The forest belonged to humanity now, and humans were the apex predators. Within 2 weeks, every Vexril on Earth was either dead, captured, or had escaped off-world. 700 years of occupation ended in 6 months of war. Hana stood in her new laboratory, analyzing genetic samples from the human population. The evolution was still continuing, she realized. Each generation would be stronger, faster, better adapted, but they had also retained their intelligence, their creativity, their capacity for strategic thinking. "We are not just predators," she told Daiwan when he visited. "We are intelligent predators. That is what makes us truly dangerous." Daiwan nodded, looking at the captured Vexril ships in orbit above them. "The collective will send more fleets. Bigger ones. They will not make the same mistakes. Let them come," Hana said. "We will be ready. And besides, who says we have to wait for them?" Daiwan smiled. It was not a kind smile. "You are suggesting we take the fight to them. Why not? We have their ships. We have their codes. We know where their colonies are." Hana pulled up a star map showing Vexril territory. "They think they can take our world and walk away. I say we teach them the price of attacking humanity." Taemin entered the laboratory carrying a report. "The ships are ready. We have crews trained on all captured vessels. Weapons at full capacity. The fleet can launch within a week." "Then we launch in a week," Daewon decided. "Target the nearest Vexril colony. Show them what happens when prey evolves into predators." Word spread through the human survivors. They would not hide anymore. They would not wait for the next attack. They were taking the war to the enemy, taking back not just Earth, but teaching the Vexril Collective a lesson the galaxy would never forget. 10,000 transformed humans prepared for war. They had been prey once, hunted and nearly destroyed. Now they were the hunters. And the Vexril were about to learn what it meant to be hunted by humanity. The Vexril colony world of Kreshitar never saw the attack coming. Why would they? Earth was just one planet, isolated and defeated. The loss of one fleet was unfortunate, but not alarming. These things happened in the vastness of space. Then humanity arrived. Sangwoo's fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. 15 captured Vexril warships flying in perfect formation. The colony's defense network detected them immediately and sent the standard identification challenge. Bora responded with proper codes stolen from the destroyed fleet. As far as Kreshitar's systems knew, this was a routine patrol returning early. The colony's orbital defenses powered down. The ground forces went about their daily business. Everything seemed normal. The first strike hit the orbital shipyards. Sangwoo's ships opened fire at point-blank range, destroying 3 vessels under construction before the alarm even sounded. Yuna's fighter squadrons launched immediately after, targeting the colony's communication satellites. Within 5 minutes, Kreshitar was blind and silent, unable to call for help. Daewon led the ground assault personally. 5,000 transformed humans dropped from orbit in stolen Vexril transports. They landed in a dozen locations simultaneously, spreading out across the colony's main settlements. The Vexril garrison tried to respond, but they were not ready for humanity's evolved warriors. Taemin's forces hit the main military base, killing the defending soldiers before most could even reach their weapons. Jiwon's team secured the civilian centers, their presence terrifying the colonists into immediate surrender. By the time the sun set on Kreshitar, the colony was under human control. 2,000 Vexril soldiers dead, 15,000 civilians captured, 0 human casualties. Daewon stood in the colony governor's office looking at maps of Vexril territory. The governor, a bureaucrat named Felnox, cowered in the corner. "Send a message to your collective," Daewon said calmly. "Tell them humanity is not extinct. Tell them we want full reparations for the destruction of Earth. Tell them we want formal recognition as a sovereign power." "They will never agree," Felnox stammered. "The collective does not negotiate with conquered species." "Then tell them we will conquer another colony, and another, until they have nothing left." The message went out on every Vexril frequency. It included footage of the battle, showing transformed humans moving with impossible speed and strength. It showed the destroyed orbital defenses and the captured colony, and it included humanity's demands. The Vexril Collective's response was predictable. They sent the military. 3 fleets, 120 ships total, converged on Kreshitar. They would crush this uprising and reclaim their colony. They would make an example of these evolved humans. Humanity was waiting. The battle for Kreshitar lasted 6 hours. The Vexril fleet had superior numbers and firepower. But humans had speed, coordination, and tactics the aliens could not counter. Boarding teams infiltrated capital ships. Fighter squadrons struck supply lines. Ground-based weapons, controlled by humans with enhanced reflexes and perfect coordination, picked off ship after ship. When the last Vexril vessel retreated, half their fleet was destroyed or captured. Humanity controlled 2 colony worlds and had a fleet of 40 warships. The collective tried to pretend it was a temporary setback, a fluke, nothing to worry about. Then humanity struck the 3rd colony, and the 4th. Each victory brought more ships, more territory, more proof that humanity was not just dangerous but unstoppable. The Galactic Council finally took notice. The Council governed over 100 species, maintaining peace and trade across known space. The Vexril Collective was a council member in good standing. This new species, these transformed humans, were disrupting galactic order. They summoned humanity to answer for their actions. Day-Wan and Yunji traveled to the council station, a massive structure orbiting a neutral world. Yunji had been a diplomat before the sleep. Now she was humanity's voice to the galaxy. Her enhanced mind able to process political nuances and alien psychology with perfect clarity. The council chamber held representatives from 50 species, some humanoid, some not. All of them stared at the two humans with a mixture of curiosity and fear. Humanity's reputation had spread across the galaxy, the species that evolved into apex predators, the prey that became the ultimate hunters. Council Arbiter Prime, a tall alien with silver skin and 6 arms, addressed them from his seat of authority. You stand accused of war crimes, unprovoked aggression, and violations of galactic law. The Vexril Collective demands justice. Yunji stepped forward, her posture perfect, her voice calm. The Vexril Collective attempted to exterminate humanity 700 years ago. They bombarded our world, killed billions, and declared us extinct. We demand reparations for genocide. The past cannot excuse present violence, the Arbiter said. You have killed thousands. You have conquered sovereign territory. This cannot stand. Then stop us, Day-Wan said simply. The chamber went silent. It was not a threat. It was a statement of fact. Every species in the room had seen the battle footage. They knew what humanity had become. You cannot threaten the council, a Vexril representative said, its voice shaking with anger and fear. No threat, Day-Wan replied. Just reality. Humanity will defend itself. We will take what we need to survive. If that means war with the collective, so be it. If that means war with the council, so be it. Yunji raised her hand, drawing attention back to her. But we prefer peace. Humanity seeks only recognition, reparations, and security. Give us these things, and we will be the council's greatest ally. Refuse, and we will become your worst nightmare. To prove the point, Day-Wan moved. He crossed the chamber in a blur, too fast for the guards to track. He stopped next to the Arbiter's seat, having passed through a dozen security checkpoints without triggering a single alarm. He could have killed everyone in the room before they knew he was moving. Instead, he simply stood there waiting, proving humanity's capabilities without violence. You could kill us all, the Arbiter said quietly. Yes, Day-Wan confirmed. But we choose not to. That is what separates us from animals. We have evolved, but we have not lost our humanity. We can be predators or partners. The choice is yours. The council debated for 3 days. Some members wanted war with humanity. Others wanted to ignore the situation. But most understood the truth. Humanity was too dangerous to fight and too valuable to waste. The final agreement was historic. Humanity received full recognition as a sovereign species. The Vexril Collective paid reparations and surrendered 3 colony worlds to human control. The collective itself was dissolved, its member species freed from mandatory alliance. And humanity gained a seat on the Galactic Council. Not everyone was happy with the arrangement. Some species saw humanity as a threat. Others saw them as barbarians who won through violence. But all of them respected and feared the transformed humans. 5 years after the awakening, humanity had rebuilt. Earth was restored, its forests and cities coexisting in harmony. 3 colony worlds thrived under human administration. The fleet had grown to 100 ships, crewed by enhanced humans whose capabilities made them the finest pilots and warriors in the galaxy. Hana stood in her laboratory on New Earth, humanity's first colony world beyond the solar system. She examined genetic samples from the newest generation of humans, children born after the awakening, carrying the evolved traits naturally. We have stabilized, she reported to Day-Wan during his visit. The evolution has stopped. This is what we are now, stronger, faster, smarter than baseline humans, but still human in the ways that matter. And the next generation? Day-Wan asked. They will be even better. Each generation will refine the changes. In 1,000 years, humanity will be extraordinary. She paused, looking at the data. But we must be careful. Power without wisdom leads to tyranny. Strength without compassion leads to cruelty. That's why we have the council, Day-Wan said. That's why we teach our children history, so they remember what we were, what we became, and what we choose to be. He looked out at the colony below, where humans and aliens worked together building something new. Humanity had evolved to survive, They had become apex predators, the most dangerous species in the galaxy, but they had also retained their capacity for mercy, cooperation, and hope. They were no longer prey. They were no longer victims. They were humanity evolved and unstoppable, and the galaxy would never forget what happened when they thought humanity was gone.